Hi, everyone. I'm Christopher Thornycroft with Redwood Logistics, and welcome to the Redwood Rundown for the week of, I don't know, the week after the Bears lose to the Packers, the week after we lose on a last-second field goal, 2 weeks before we fire Matt Eberflus. What are we talking about? Is this the freight market? Long-time listener, first-time caller? Anyway, let's get to it. It is the day that the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse now has issued state driver's license agencies to have to downgrade driver's licenses who have failed a drug test and are in probationary status. Now, according to a few people that we've talked to, this is actually going to impact a small amount of drivers, but the truth is nobody actually knows. So we're really kind of waiting to see what's going to happen throughout over the next couple of weeks. The other thing that we're looking at is the March to Thanksgiving and beyond. This week is traditionally the week where we start to see a little bit more movement in the market, although freight volumes look pretty low out there. We would usually see them start to pick on up. Next week, have a very, 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 very strong start to the week, Monday and Tuesday, before the absolute cooling off on Wednesday. Thursday, Thanksgiving, aka somehow the Bears miraculously beat Detroit, maybe. And then Friday, generally considered a day that is on the calendar and people work it, but it is not a heavy freight volume day. Business goes as usual. There's some last minute needs that pop on up, but for the most part, it's pretty quiet out there. The next week, you all know the drill. Capacity is displaced because it all goes on home. You see all the freight that didn't go out on Wednesday, that didn't go out on Thursday, that didn't go out on Friday, didn't go out on the weekend, get pushed into Monday. And that is where you start to see a big buildup of all that freight because there's not enough capacity on the road to service it. And you have some private fleet drivers who maybe never came out of the Thanksgiving holiday, etc. And it is a big madness out there, and it generally contracts rates really, really, really quickly. That doesn't mean that the big spot market generally hits the week after Thanksgiving, though. The big spot market generally hits about, your January 15th. That's when you start to see those outbound tender rejection rates rise. That's when you see that spot market really heat up. What the week after Thanksgiving is just a week of capacity tightness and a lot of freight volume. Whether that actually translates into spot volume remains to be seen. What we're looking at as far as markets right now, there is no market that is hotter than Southern California, and that's not crazy. The thing that we'd look at though is we'd say, hey, watch Phoenix really closely, because when Phoenix is getting hot, that generally means that you are seeing a lot of gravitational pull from Southern California, and that is pulling capacity away from that Arizona market. We're certainly seeing that right now. Southern California, red hot, looks like that's going to continue. For the Midwest, markets that you look at that Chicago market, still pretty soft, still pretty stagnant. And then there's Memphis. Memphis really a canary in the coal mine for the rest of the Midwest market, and that's been soft as well. So the Midwest is not giving that indication just yet that it is going to change. If you see that vacuum going on by, that's because it's late at night. You figured that's when I was getting this done at this point. So we are watching that very, very closely to see if that starts to change. But Los Angeles market, red hot. We have seen the border heat on up. Goods coming up from Mexico, generally a good sign for consumer spending. So that continues. We do not anticipate a shift away from that in the Laredo market. And then the other border markets, El Paso and McAllen, have continued as well. That's all we have for this week. Sorry that we haven't been on for a couple weeks. It's been a lot of these late nights. Budget season. It is what it is. But we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Heal. We're going to be okay.